Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Trojan Tuning. This is one of the first videos we're making. This is looking at something I've been looking at all weekend, how to tune your MAF on your Mustang GT S650, the 7th generation. Shrouded in mystery and excitement, right? Ever since HPTuners uh, gave us a fix, some sort of exploit, whatever you want to call it, that allows us to actually not only read ECUs read stock maps rather from S650 ECUs, but actually write them back as well. And spoilers, I've been able to do a little bit of MAF tuning, and I want to share with you folks how I was able to do that. And, it's not perfect, but I have found that there is not a lot of info being shared. So I wanted to start pushing some things out there, and invite other folks to collaborate, and work with us. So without further ado, let me transfer over here. So looking at the editor, you folks may have been wrestling with getting your version added. And by that I mean HPTuners. The S650 became available. Your OS, though, might vary between your year, what have you. Um, I was lucky enough that the beta software of VCM Editor, beta 5.1.4671, for me was able to unlock my OS, and I was able to read the map here, and now I'm free to do edits. There's a lot going on here, and I'll mention that MAF tuning is just the beginning. It's where, when I'm tuning, I like to begin. I am very much aware, and you should be too, though, that a major part of the equation here is also speed density. And I'm not going to get into speed density today, but MAF is one half of things, um, and it is controlled, without further ado, getting into the pokey pokey here. If we go to airflow and we have our general tab, you will see here we have two MAF calibrations, airflow for bank 1 and airflow for bank 2. The banks, I'm pretty confident, are corresponding to the sets of 4 cylinders on either side of the V8. If I open my first one, I get this cool table. And I had a lot of fun over the weekend coming to terms with what it is that I'm seeing here, because whenever I open a math table, I typically want to see voltage or frequency. And in fact, you're kind of seeing both here. That cent AD count, cent is a single something nibble transmission protocol. It's controlled by a very specific engineering protocol. If you look up a conversation that I've been having on HPTuners, where I'm Abalore, as well as on the Mustang 7G, you'll see me ask the question, what the hell is this, right? And it's a very specific protocol. What it's doing is converting analog positions over to a digital signal. S650, very new. All the MAF stuff is now digital, right? It's just digital signals. It's drive-by-wire to the extreme. And what you're seeing here is that range of 4,000 to 15,000 for that digital range for the signal. And it's commanding, if I actually open this up and go to two windows, bear with me. Um, as that increases, right, we see our familiar exponential MAF curve where we're commanding a certain airflow. I put mine in grams per second, and actually, when I got this map, when I first opened it, mine was in grams per second. Some folks are seeing kilogram hours. Whatever. My advice to you is just pick a unit and stay constant. I feel like I'm echoing my high school physics teacher. Unit analysis, right? Pick one and stick with it. In my case, I prefer grams per second. I find other people do as well sometimes. Um, and so basically, as a function of the frequency, we're going to push a command, a grams per second airflow. That tells the MAF, right, how to adjust your throttle, and away you go. So we know we have it there, and we know we have a version here. That's the second version as well, right? And spoilers, you're going to have to touch both. Now, what I was seeing, and I'm going to drag this down, If you're using VCM Scanner, this is one of my first logs that I took. And you'll see here on the left, these are parameters that I know I like to include. These are parameters that also other folks, as I was doing research, are being sure to include as well. And so I've got my classics of like RPM, throttle position, load, right? You can pause the video and take a long look at all these. Um, for this one, I hadn't fully optimized this either. I've got some other changes, but things you're going to really want to make sure you have. I like knowing if I'm closed loop active. I like knowing here based on system 1 and 2 what the status is, closed loop. I love being able to see my equivalence ratio commanded. Strongly encourage you to think of things in terms of lambda, not AFR. If you haven't already, that's a change I made back a couple years, way back when I was doing my Boss 302 tuning. And let's see, your trims and your mass airflow. And these are still kind of mysterious here because we have voltage from the mass airflow sensor. We have airflow A and B in gram seconds. We also have a commanded desired air mass in 6 gram seconds. I have noticed, by and large, that the desired air mass tends to break down between airflow A and B. It's not a perfect sum, but it behaves like a sum, right? So I'm still kind of unpacking exactly what all that means. But it's something I have noticed. Other things, torque, we're beginning to capture. You're going to want to see those. And then I'm starting to map these different map points, which we know have something to do with speed, density, and torque management. We're going to get into that elsewhere, right? The key thing that I was noticing was in my tables here. I've got long-term fuel trim, short-term fuel trim, and this is bone stock. And I'm noticing that I'm seeing some lean conditions here, right? I'm adding fuel here in the long term and, short terms all over the place. Now, conventional wisdom is you would turn off your long-term fuel trims and you would begin correlating a histogram to this table here, right? And then as you get percentages of EQ error or LTFT plus STFT, right, you begin layering it in, and that's how we've always done things. Not the case for this situation. Here we're going to do something a little different, and this is where I bring you down to some of the tables I've been experimenting with here. If you look in your graphs layout, I'm going to go to MAF B1 here. This is how I've set things up, and I'll show you how I did this. One is the parameter I'm going against is the LTFT B1 and STFT for B1. And I found that by going to the predefined maths for HPTuner, going to fuel trims, and we've got some to choose from here. There's the raw LTS, raw long and short-term trims. There's an averaged long-term short-term trims, which is bank separated, and a very nice fellow on Mustang 7G pointed me to this could be the parameter you tune with, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also long-term B1, bank 1, and long-term short-term bank 2. I have had luck working with bank 1 and 2, and I'll show you why, and you can make of it what you will. But I select bank 1, and that's what I want to track, 2 decimal places. I don't have any filters on this yet. I don't, and I'm not worried about cell hits because the math so far in these early stages, it kind of works out, and bear with me. The real trick here that I'll show you, and this is what I was beating my head against, is we want to map the mass airflow sensor. And we actually want to come to, if you go to airflow, oops, maybe it was up here. Airflow, there's tons of these, right? Here we go. Yep. The SAE generics for airflow A, which is basically bank 1, and airflow B, bank 2, right? I map against those, and in this case for bank 1, I'm going to pick airflow A. And I can even, use the generic, can even include that here. And now I've got it. And I'm going to put it in grams per second units. I'm not, for example, choosing, which I could have, for mass airflow. right? I'm not choosing the frequency, which I could have, and I'm not choosing voltage, which I would have liked to. I even have AD counts, which corresponds to the tables. I could take the voltage and use a um, a translator, if you will. What do you call it? A factor, right? To say this converts AD counts into voltage, right? To just for the sake of getting an equivalence table, right? I could do that, and I was trying to do that. The problem that you run into is, and I'll let go of this log file now. As you try to add channels, there are very few that are available to you. And with mass airflow in particular, there's these rates. That's what you get. And the raw sensor voltage, which it doesn't consistently translate to anything, right? And again, someone pointed out to me, what you really want to work with is just airflow A and airflow B. That's what you have. That's what this ECU is giving you to work with. And the way you can implement it is if you come back over here, and I'll go back to bank 1, these elements right here are gram seconds, right? And essentially those form a series of breakpoints across this axis right here, the counts. And so you can take these, just nibble them up, you copy them, right? Go in Excel, paste it somewhere, and then copy it again and do a transpose. So it goes as a row, not a column here, right? And that then allows you to come into, oops, yep, go back to my graphs layout, bank 1. That's where I got those values, okay? And that creates a situation where VCM Scanner, if I open a new log, oops, actually, that's not the right one. Hang on one sec. Okay, phew, files everywhere. So yeah, what that was how I defined it, going back here. And gram seconds, yep. So that creates a situation, like I was saying, in VCM Scanner, where it scans between these breakpoints, right? So, and it loads them against the side here. So like between 40 and 44, right, I'm seeing this range between 44 and 49. That's the beauty of setting up these histograms with these breakpoints, right? And in this case, here I am logging the LTFT plus STFT deviance. And when I came, let's see, the first time I did this with that log where things were showing mostly lean, I came in with the bank 1 information. I did the classic thing where I came in with my, the copy from VCM Scanner, like this, for example. What I could do, right? You copy and then come over here and you do your paste special abracadabra. Now, the first time I did it, I was ballsy. And because I was seeing numbers bigger than 5, I was multiplying by a proper full-on percent. And that made a fairly substantial adjustment. Here, now that I've tuned it in once, I'll probably go half, right? And you can see here now I know what the HPTuners software has changed, and I can start looking for points of disruption. So things where maybe I want to adjust a little. When I first started, I was seeing things like this here and there, right? God, that's awful, right? And you can come through, and as you get good at math and smoothing, you do your thing. And of course, these tools are there to help you. But we're going to back all that out. We're actually going to back that change out. The results, though, for the first round with this method, that is pretty tight. Again, it's monitoring LTFT plus STFT, and that's for bank 1. And for bank 2, even better. Now remember, these were coming in lean across the board, especially in this range originally. And I was showing long-term fuel trims of 4 and 5 consistently across the board. Now we're within 1 and 2, right? Measuring manifold pressure against RPM. So listen, this is not going to be the only way to do this, but for now, it's one of the ways that the community is aware of. I feel that it works. The car was running great, and these numbers, they don't lie. Even the STFTs are a little more in range. That one's a little wonky, but I only had 2 hits, right? Here in the meat of my data, right? God damn, I'm pretty proud of that, right? Any tuner would be. So there you go. First video of many on this topic as we continue to unpack the mysteries of the S650. Down the road, I'll create a more comprehensive tutorial that's sort of soup to nuts, uh, from alpha to omega, how you would tune this, but I'm guessing we're ways away from that. And in the meantime, I thank you for watching. If you got something out of this video, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. This is my first time creating YouTube content. I've been consuming it for years, and I find now I'm in a position where somebody's got to start making this stuff available, right, and be a little more forthcoming than some of the boards can be. So thank you, have a good one, and good luck out there.